Time is 6:35. Roll call, please.
Ann Torrey, absent. Raymond Mass,
Here.
Eileen Hogan,
Here.
Ben Euro,
Here.
Sharon Lee,
Here.
Vincent Light,
Here.
Paul Cagnon, Anna Cruz, Amanda Califano.
Here.
Eugene Horowitz, absent. Chris Havens, absent.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been posted at Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, and mailed to the Asbury Park Press, Two River Times, and Star Ledger. This meeting is being tape recorded in the event the applicant uses the services of a court reporter to transcribe the tapes. The board requires a copy of the transcript. We will break at about 8 p.m. for deliberation of testimony heard thus far in the conference room on the first floor. Public is invited to attend. However, discussion between board members and the public is not permitted at that time. No new cases will be heard after 9 p.m. The Red Bank Zoning Board of Adjustment has maintained a policy cutoff hour of 9 p.m. for its hearings. Any applicant not heard this evening will be carried over to the next scheduled meeting. Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a couple of administrative matters, meeting minutes from August 15th. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Raymond Mass,
Yes.
Ben Euro,
Yes.
Vincent Light,
Yes.
Paul Cagnon.
Yes.
Okay, new business. We have One Fisher Place, Red Bank.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, as the applicant teams,
So can we make the announcement about, just for the record, about,
Mullally or
Mullally?
So, Mullally application 37-49 Riverside Avenue, was supposed to have been heard tonight. But they're going to carry to a new date, and Shauna, they will renotice.
Yes.
And the applicant's attorney, Ed McKenna, did send me a letter today saying he, on behalf of his client, consented to extend the time frame within which the board has to act. So, so noted. All right. So on the Fisher Place application, is there anyone, come on up, is there anyone here in the audience tonight who had any questions or comments or concerns regarding the sufficiency of the notice they received? All right, we don't see any. The board secretary and I reviewed the notice and found everything to be in order. So it'd be my humble opinion that we have jurisdiction to proceed tonight. And what we're going to do is mark into the record what we as a board have before us. So A1 is the intent to proceed dated July 25th, 2024. A2 is the survey prepared by Michael Cannon dated May 14th, 2024. A3 is the architectural plans prepared by Welt Molinari Architecture dated July 23rd, 2024. A4 is the review memorandum from Shauna Ebanks, and that is dated October 1st, 2024. And well, I think that's it. And what we'll do is we will swear in Shauna Ebanks. Shauna, you are the borough's Director of Community Development. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide, to the extent you provide, will be the truth, the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Dan O'Hearn, the applicant's attorney. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Kennedy. Nice to see you as always, and good evening, board members and other board professionals. We're here tonight for an application. Daniel O'Hearn on behalf of the applicant, Tammy Zacks, who's sitting to my left, and Stephen Zacks behind me. Mrs. Zacks will provide the testimony this evening in support of the application. They are seeking they're proposing to build a two-story, two-car garage on their existing residential lot at One Fisher Place in the RA residential zone. Ms. Sachs will provide a little bit more detail about why they want to do this and a little bit more about the proposed location and design of the garage. Just one thing, our architect, Mr. Molinari, who's supposed to be here tonight to provide testimony in support of the application, just advised us just in the past, I think, day or so, his daughter goes to college in Western Carolina. So we all know what happened there. He had to, fortunately, she's safe, but he had to drive down here. So we apologize for not having him here tonight. He would have been here tonight. But we think we can proceed because this is a relatively simple, straightforward application. And we're hopeful that either Ms. Axe or I can answer or address any questions or concerns of the board. There are several variances required. There's several bulk variances for the square footage of the garage of 500 square foot is permitted. The proposed is 580 square feet. The height, the maximum height in the borough's ordinance is 16. There's a proposed height of 17.8 inches. And also because the garage is over the square foot allowance, it triggers a D variance because it basically makes it a second principal use on the property. So those are the variances. The other variances is that the borough ordinances requires a standalone garage to either face behind the house and to the side. This proposed garage is facing the front of the house, facing up Fisher Place. And the primary reason for that is that really is the only way you can place it. You could place it out to River Road, but we think that that's, from a safety standpoint, other reasons, that would be a good idea. It's much easier and safer to have the driveway access on the Fisher Place instead of River Road. So that's one of the reasons for that. The variance. So with that, I would like to have Mr. Kevin Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, you can swear in the text.
Sure. Good evening and welcome. If you could just state your name, please.
Tammy Zacks.
Okay, welcome to the Red Bank Zoning Board. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the best of your knowledge, so help you God? Okay, and Dan, do you mind if I just get 4 real quick questions out that I need for the resolution?
Absolutely.
All right, for the record, are you the owner of the subject property?
Myself and my husband.
Okay, and how long have you owned it, roughly?
12 years.
And my notes reflect that there's a single family home there? And do you live there?
Yeah.
Okay, all yours, Dan.
My first 4 or 5 questions. Kennedy asked this question. You and your husband are the only people living in the house right now?
We are. We have 2 children who have left the nest.
Just if you could tell the board, what's your current parking situation at the property?
We currently have a small driveway to the left that butts next to our neighbor's driveway. We can fit 2 cars, but only single lane. So I generally park on the street in front of the house so my husband can access getting in and out early in the morning.
Just, I mean, the board probably has a general idea from the thing. Just describe the property kind of like the layout.
Right. Okay. So the home is kind of all the way to the left if you're looking at it from Fisher Place. And then we have the front yard and the backyard that wraps around is open to the right from River Road and Fisher Place, which is why we're proposing to put the garage there. Because the left really have 12 feet, and mostly not enough room for a driveway, so the backyard down the side.
And if you could just explain to the board, why you're seeking to construct the garage and a little bit of information about how you intend to use it, et cetera.
Well, since we've been living there, we have really wanted a garage. For many reasons, we'd like to keep the cars in the garage out of the weather and things like that. It does snow. I know it hasn't much lately, but it was always a problem trying to get it shoveled with moving the cars in and out and really just keeping them off the street. There's, believe it or not, a lot of traffic on Fisher Place. Other people from across the street do park in front of our house, so just a lot of cars and activity, and we would really like to have a garage. We also really don't have a lot of storage in the house, believe it or not. The 2 small attics really have air conditioners in them, and they're not really high enough to stand up in. And the basement sometimes gets a little wet, so that was the reason we were asking. So storage over the garage, being able to use that some of the things we don't want on the garage.
And just, could you, over, I think the architect would give us.
Bring the microphone closer to you, please.
I might,
I might,
No, his, yeah. Good.
I always think I have a good loud voice, but.
What?
It's not you, it's.
No worries. I was gonna say, the architect would have been a little bit probably better qualified, not that Mrs. Sachs isn't capable, but of explaining the plans and the design. But if you could just generally give the board the benefit of what it's gonna look like, right? And how you're gonna use your intended use of it.
so it's basically just wide enough in the front for 2 cars. And we're gonna use it to park our 2 cars in there. We don't have big cars, but so they'll fit. We also would like to put a little space in the back for my husband to have a treadmill. So there's really nowhere for that either. With a half bath there. And the reason we're going for the 80 extra square feet is because to access the storage that we want to put in, I asked for a full staircase just because as I get old, it's really hard to do the pull downstairs and actually get things up there and down and stuff like that. That's really all, and keep gardening supplies, and we did have a pool, so we wanted to have a little, right now, all the pool supplies are out in the big bin, in the backyard, so we wanted a little closet.
Just so it's clear to the board, this garage is not gonna be used for any type of living space.
Absolutely.
And you have no plans now and no plans in the future.
No, the way the architect tried to do the pitch the same as the gable on the front of the house currently. And so there's really only, I think, 4 feet in the middle that are even enough. They're 7 feet tall. It'll go up sloped on all sides, and there won't be any windows or anything up there. Nobody's planning to live up there.
I don't believe the plans address this, but what about proposed lighting on the garage? What do you intend to do with lighting?
The architect, we aren't putting any outside lights on it except for under the gables. We'll do the recessed lighting, I guess it's called, just that are functional, just so when we go in and out of the garage, we can have light.
No plans for floodlights.
No floodlights, all of our neighbors have plenty of floodlights.
This probably would have been an architectural, but if you can testify to it, there was a question about the dimensions of the driveway. If you can
Okay.
provide the board with that information.
Yes, so, we had it so that the driveway is as wide as the garage when you're coming out, and then it slenders down to just, I think, 13 feet at the curb. To keep it, and it kind of curves a little to keep it as far away from River Road. I think it's about 50 feet from the corner as it exists now. And really just to avoid the trees that are there. We don't need to have double access to get in. We would like to have double access to park at the top and then just.
So I got a question. So the garage would be closer to Fisher Place than the current house is?
Exactly. Yeah, actually, if you don't count the front porch, it'll be further back. It's even with the front of the house, then there's a front porch. Sticks out on the house. So it'll be even with the house.
Thank you.
And you have a driveway on the other side of the house, right? So what do you do with that?
We can get rid of it if you want. It's currently kind of right next to our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
It's attached, but we can definitely get rid of it, just a walkway to that side door. That's currently how we, get in and out of the house right now.
Oh, okay.
I'll just speak to this, just in consulting with the architect. There was a question in the review letter about whether the driveway, the square footage of the driveway was included in the impervious coverage, and the answer is yes, it is. And the number was, the driveway would be approximately 607 square feet. The calculations, I believe that's like 18% impervious coverage.
Okay.
And I know that's hearsay, Mr. Kennedy, but
It's all right.
I agree with that.
Well, I do have questions to that point also, probably for the architect, because you're right, it's almost exactly 607 square feet, so you're not far off. But I have questions maybe for Shauna. about the existing is only 12.2%. But I see raised patios, concrete walks, the existing driveway, slate walkway I know doesn't count, but the porches do. It doesn't look like to anyone else that the existing was more than 12% of the lot coverage.
So they're increasing to 18, if I get that right?
That's one, that's.
The math checks out between 12 and 18. I have a question about the original existing lot coverage is stated only 12%. The difference between is exactly right. The garage and the driveway that you're saying, bringing it from 12 to 18. My question is it really 12% to start with? Because I think pools are not considered
Pools are not.
impervious.
No, they are.
They're considered
They're
impervious?
pervious, sorry.
They're pervious?
Yes.
For my application, it wasn't when I did my pool. You know what I mean? So this is just from my own experience. So the concrete walk, the raised patios, the porch, the existing paved driveway, not the nice curly one, because that looks like pavers, front wall looks like pavers, but the porch. I'm questioning if it's even 12% to start with.
As long as it's not over the 35 that's permitted, they're still under 18. If that's what they're,
I'm saying if their starting number is
Oh,
12,
they're
to-
12.
I'm questioning the 12%
oh,
original lot coverage, if that's accurate.
Even if it's doubled, add 6 and you're under 35.
I know, but there's no calculation on the front page,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, I'm looking at that same one. Yeah, I'm just used to a better detail on that.
It wasn't on the survey.
no, it's usually.
Thanks, Brian.
But the architect's not here to ask that question. I'm questioning the original 12%. The calculation between 12 and 18 is accurate.
As Max said, though, my understanding of even with these additions, with the addition, we're still significantly under the allowed 35%.
Oh, if 18% is true, absolutely. But it doesn't look like 12% of the original coverage.
Yeah, she's saying that the 12% is not accurate, so then the 18% wouldn't be accurate.
If you took that directly off of my plan and survey,
I can't speak for that. It took it off.
my
We'd
plan.
still be at
that
30,
did.
still be at 30%, and I guess if that's a concern of the board, my client had offered to eliminate the other driveway. The only thing with eliminating the other driveway, it really just, I don't know how it impacted the neighbor, but it abuts, they're not shared driveways, but they basically, are right next to that anyway. But I'm sure that you could figure that out.
I think there's some other concerns too. One is we've not allowed bathrooms in above garages. Running water, anything above garages or above garages.
Doesn't matter.
Garage.
I think what he meant was a bathroom, not necessarily upstairs, just in the garage.
In the garage, right? So that's kind of a concern because we have not allowed that in the past, and it's something that I'm not, I know the town's looking at some changing ordinances, but that's one that we've kind of stuck with that we have not allowed in the past. So that's a concern.
I was not aware of that. We don't have to have it.
Well, it's
There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry, I didn't realize that at all.
And I think the concern was, generally speaking, a bathroom seems to make it more likely to be occupied. And again, but why don't you just, if you could, just talk about your proposed utilities, if you know that. Are you gonna have electric, I'm assuming?
Yes, we were hoping to add electric so we could down the road get an electric car. Possibly.
Okay,
Electric door opener, maybe.
Pardon?
And maybe an electric door opener.
Well, that's true.
and the lights.
Lights.
And your gym equipment.
You're right.
But that's essentially, I mean, if you didn't have the bathroom, there'd be no water, I'm assuming, or?
There would be no need for water. Again, the half bath was put in just because.
Sure.
This is putting on the treadmill. It's not necessary.
okay. Any questions from board members?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I'm just curious if we were to grant the D1 variance as a second primary residence, is that what it is? A second?
A second principal structure.
Principal structure,
Right, so,
residence.
you know, if we're gonna tell them, excuse me, that they can't have water or a bathroom, which I agree with, then does that mean that the D1 variance is required for what, just because of the size that it's?
Size, it's just strictly
Height,
size.
yeah, the square foot and the height.
Square foot in the height.
The T variance, it's just the size that triggers basically a second principal structure. And that triggers, so that's a.
Right, but what-
That triggers I don't think the height triggers it.
No, the height doesn't, it's just a C variance for the height.
Exactly, it's just the size, and I don't know that it's 80 square feet. And you testified that the additional square footage was done to create the stairs so you could get up and down to the storage space instead of having going to drop down the stairs.
Well, without the bathroom, could it be reduced?
I was thinking about that, but I don't,
Well, I mean, if we could cut it, you mean, just cut out the bathroom and not include it, so it wouldn't be a rectangle?
this is the bathroom, I don't know I don't know if you can move the stairs, I don't know if you could move them over there, if that.
I don't think it would make like a significant amount of difference
terms of
where the
space.
stay, yeah, in the space, if they just cut out the bathroom, because the width of the bathroom is only 5 feet. They could just extend the space to make it for their gym. To make more equipment there.
Looking at that, I'm not an architect, I tend to agree, I don't know if that would.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make
Where the
it.
bathroom is located, it probably would not, reduce the overall square footage of it. Because then you kind of have to reconfigure the whole back.
Yeah.
And then the second floor is I walk up the stairs, you can stand up there.
I think it'll be,
It's 7 foot, for
At the highest.
8 inches, 4 inches.
Yeah.
That's the highest pitch.
So if you're standing.
Yeah.
right, and I think there's
For West Nile.
square in the middle, so maybe it starts at that height, then comes down.
Okay.
Just again, I know that I'm not the architect, my understanding that the height of the house was to make it consistent with the roof line, the height of the garage was to make it consistent, so if it was dropped down, the garage would look a little squat compared with the house, so that was the thought, just lift it up a little bit, so it aesthetically looks a little bit more pleasing. I mean, you say the upstairs is really just for storage, it's not use it for any kind of living space.
Were you planning to heat the garage at all?
What about the gym part, the part with the treadmill and stuff, just,
I don't think so, I mean, he's just gonna run on it, and he
Yeah.
runs outside.
Or electric baseboard, that would work too.
Space heater.
There's electric in there, I don't think that's an issue.
It's funny, growing up, my doctor's office was in that house.
I remember, I used to come through that little yard when I was a kid all the time. I remember the house, absolutely.
All right, any other questions from the board?
The existing landscaping, does block half of the new garage. So that's a good thing that on River, it won't be so much of a intense feel on that side. So I appreciate that and how it's set back to kind of match the house. It's a beautiful house, drove by.
No issues with the neighbors?
Sits out 37
Okay.
certified letters.
And to that point, Mr. Chairman, where the garage is, the neighbor that's on the, I guess, the north side of Fisher Place, right? The garage is on the opposite side, so it shouldn't impact them at all. And the other neighbor is kind of behind the house that faces on River Road.
Right.
And they're kind of a far distance away, so I don't think it would have any impact at all.
Yeah, their pool kind of sits between the property line. It's the property line and pool, and then the garage.
Uh-huh.
And then their landscaping also, it's extremely high along with the fence. So,
And Mr. Chairman, if I could just, Paul, to one other comment, where I think you were going was, if the application is approved, obviously it's for a second principal structure because of the size, but I mean, in the past, doesn't mean you have to do it here, but in the past, what you all have done is said, hey, it's a second principal structure because of the size, but it is a garage, it is not a house. And by the way, it can't be used for living space. Sometimes you have a deed restriction to say that, but you also generally have said in the past, and by the way, because of this special arrangement, there can't be any further expansion or intensification absent further approval, just because you don't want to give typically you don't want to give carte blanche approval. Hey, it's a principal structure. So that's generally some of the things, if that helps at all.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's, we're calling it a garage. But
Yes.
it seems to be more.
And we will.
More than a garage. I'm all for the garage, a typical garage. There aren't bathrooms in garages. There aren't necessarily, usually lofts upstairs in garages or gyms in garages. So we're calling it a garage. To me, it's more than a garage. I'm perfectly fine with a bigger, oversized garage. I think it looks great too. But I would want the caveats about no more expansion, no water, things like that. Let's call it a garage. You're calling it a garage. You want a garage. I'm all for that. I just want to make sure that ex-owner doesn't come in and say, hey, I've got two structures here and I want to put an addition on it. So those are my concerns about it.
Those are fair and understood.
Mhm.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? I don't see any. Any comments from the board?
Personally, I like the idea that you're adding a garage to the house. Every house could use a garage. Like Paul said, having utilities really puts this into a gray area. So as long as you're willing to take out the bathroom, don't heat it, I'm okay with the size of it being, the size of a secondary principal use. So from my commentary, I would be in favor of this.
Any comments from the public? I don't see any. Anybody like to make a motion to approve or deny this application?
I'll approve it.
I'll second.
Mr. Chairman, could I just relay a couple real quick things?
Absolutely.
If I've taken some notes, if the application were to be approved, typically the conditions would be compliance with all the promises, commitments, and representations the team made tonight, compliance with any affordable housing regulations, requirements, compliance with Shauna's memo, obtaining any outside approvals if necessary, and then obviously if in conjunction with outside approvals, the nature of the application or the requested relief materially changes, you have to come back. We generally have a 24-month shelf life for which to get the permits or any agreed upon extension. No living space. Did you want a deed restriction filed? I mean, it's a simple deed restriction, or I don't care if we do or don't. That's up to you.
What do you recommend?
I mean, historically, you have had the deed restriction just that says it can't be used as a home or dwelling unit absent further approval of the board.
I'd go with that.
Dan, is that the concern always was about if you sold and you didn't tell people and they thought, hey, I had this. And then the no further expansion absent approval. And let's see, we talked about no living space. We talked about the utility restrictions.
Mr. Kenny, I just wanted one issue was the heat. I know there was some back and forth about heat, no heat. I mean, is it if they wanted to put
Electric baseboard heat.
electric baseboard heat in the?
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, we didn't want to run afoul. It just seemed a little unclear on that.
Is that okay? Electric baseboard heat?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
I think he's
make
gonna
that known. And now I just wanted to, I know there was some discussion about getting rid of that other driveway. Is that something that's on the table or no, we're not doing that?
Oh, the other side
I
one.
believe the survey is accurate to start.
So
Yeah.
We didn't make the other applicant take out the existing driveway.
Yeah.
Last time, we didn't make them do it.
The walk.
Correct me if I'm wrong also, but on a previous application, they had a driveway, added a driveway. And the existing driveway wasn't part of the.
No, because it's existing.
And it's not counting towards their lot coverage?
Yeah.
So they can keep the.
Yeah.
But if they do anything to it, that's when it triggers. So the old driveway, if you do anything to it, that's when it'll all come back.
That's when it triggers.
Like if you,
You
Want to
repave it,
repair.
like if you take it up and then wanna expand it further, make it bigger.
or even pavers, you know, take it, you know, but pavers would be pervious, right? So
Yeah.
that wouldn't even matter.
Come back
A
here.
new asphalt over there, you'd have to do a new application. Yeah, we didn't make someone else remove that, right?
And then what I'm assuming is, Amanda, to your earlier questions, if this would be acceptable, if it were approved, Dan, as a, you you just could confirm the existing lot coverage when the architect comes back and just provide what Amanda said, some better calculation details, and just as long as we're not exceeding the 35%,
Yeah,
variance for that.
The plans would have to be revised to, remove the bathroom, so as part of that.
Well, that won't affect your lot coverage anyway.
No, but I'm just saying it.
Oh, your architecturals,
that
yeah.
Process, you can
Okay.
take a look at.
Right.
Lot coverage issue, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
And I just have one other question we didn't talk about, but the driveway itself, is there a concern about the proximity to the crosswalk there? Like,
It's pretty set back. That was a concern of mine also, but
It's 50 feet from the corner, so it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And confirm with the architect, shouldn't impact site triangle or any of those type of issues, so.
yeah, that would be something that we probably want to confirm, that there's not
I didn't know that
a
there was-
dangerous condition.
Something, thanks, there was something in your review letter about the DPW, was it?
yes, in order to create a new curb cut or depression, you will have to get approval from the DPU. So that's their I forgot, open roads, open something permit. So you'd have to get approval from them and then just submit the approval.
And then I think the only other conditions were obviously what we talked about, the revising the plan so as to include the elimination of the half bathroom. And then Shauna, since you made a very good point, by the way, Shauna is excellent, about how the landscaping helps hide and shield. Dan, and it's just pretty typical of the board, we typically have a requirement that particularly because of the circumstances, that you perpetually maintain and replant that landscaping so that buffer and visible shield is always there. And again, so are those terms acceptable to the applicants?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Eileen, you were the motioner?
Yeah, and.
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
Raymond Mass,
Yes.
Eileen Hogan,
Yes.
Ben Euro,
Yes.
Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Vincent Light,
Yes.
Paul Cagnon,
Yes.
and Anna Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yes.